In a world where carbs are your enemy, you need one man to help you fight your battles. That man is Jimmy.
Combating nutrition disinformation and general bull. It's Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com.
Nutritional Therapy Association. The NTA trains and certifies nutritional therapy practitioners
like me
and consultants by focusing on bioindividuality.
One size diet doesn't fit all.
And the range of dietary strategies that support wellness.
Being healthy overall, y'all.
The NTA emphasizes a whole food,
vegetables from our front yard and backyard gardens,
properly prepared,
like fermented and sprouted,
and nutrient-dense diet,
like grass-fed butter and grass-fed beef,
as the key to restoring balance and enhancing the body's innate ability to heal. Throughout their programs, students learn a wide range of educational tools and techniques to identify and correct nutritional imbalances and deficiencies in their clients, and they launch a successful career in holistic nutrition.
And they might become best-selling authors and podcasters too.
The NTA produces like-minded practitioners and consultants that we consider the leaders in health and wellness.
Oh yeah.
Registration is now open for May classes, and you can learn more and save your seat by going to nutritionaltherapy.com.
Go sign up.
And don't forget to mention Jimmy and Christine Moore on your application. What's that website again, Christine?
Nutritionaltherapy.com.
Go sign up, y'all. You hear?
Oh yeah.
You're so silly. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another Instagram Live, and we're here with another episode of Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com is the website. Hop on over to Instagram. That's how the show begins. You can follow me. I'm at Livin' Low Carb Man, LIVINLOWCARBMAN. Once you're there, you can engage live in the content, just like Lois and Bonnie, Lions Fit for Life, and so many other people coming in right now. Thank you guys for being here. If you missed the live, it's all good. You can watch it on replay for up to 24 hours. After 24 hours, poof, it does disappear. Be sure to go check out all the past episodes, you guys, over on YouTube. I got a frog in my throat suddenly. There's nothing worse than that when you start a live and you have a frog ribbit in your throat. Go watch the past episodes up on YouTube. Type in a keyword search Jimmy Rants. You will find the show. Finally, the best of the best moments of this here show is in podcast form. It's the Jimmy Rants podcast over on Apple Podcasts as well as Stitcher. All of these links are at JimmyRants.com. Well, as you can see below, you guys, we're going to do an open Q&A on pretty much anything you want to talk about. Keto, nutritional therapy, cholesterol, fasting, anything you want to ask. And of course, we is Jimmy Moore, and then this pretty little lady.
Hey.
Who are you?
Jimmy's wife. You know I love saying that.
I have been trying hard to break her of the mold. You are not Mrs. Jimmy Moore. You are.
No, I just told you that to annoy you. No, I'm.
We are definitely a married couple. Maybe not for much longer, but I'm just kidding. Who are you?
I am Christine Moore, NTP.
So what's an NTP?
Nutritional Therapy Practitioner. My hair's all messed up.
All right, now you're acting like Lauren the other day. She's like, I'm such a hot mess. I'm like, you're beautiful. And I'll tell her, you the same thing.
Thank
You're
you.
beautiful.
Thank you.
Don't need no stinking makeup. So what are your questions, you guys? Please write them down below. We're going to do this kind of open Q&A. We are on the low-carb cruise currently, and we're in port, but it was a little bit hot out there. So Christine and I had to get our butts back inside. So go ahead, drop down your questions down below. We will do our best to answer. Christina Wiener has a lot of knowledge on all kinds of things about digestion, detoxification. You actually got to do a panel the other day.
I did.
Where we talked about nutritional therapy. Do you think people get it? Are they understanding what nutritional therapists do and are?
I think with the panel, I mean, I think the people were very surprised at the breadth of knowledge that we actually do have.
Yeah.
I mean, because we do learn about anatomy and physiology and all that sort of stuff, and so I think people are starting to hopefully understand that it's a great program and that you actually do learn a lot going through that program.
And more people in keto are starting to do the program because of that breadth of knowledge and because of the intensified education that you get. And some people want to dismiss, well, it's only a 9-month program. Okay, yeah, you get a few letters after your name, but what do you really do with it? So I thought the three of you that were on that panel all demonstrated what you're doing with it, how you're helping people, and within the ketogenic context, maybe some of the problems that they're dealing with isn't a macronutrient issue, but it could be a digestion issue. It could be a micronutrient issue. It could be any number of things that traditionally most kind of keto people aren't talking about.
Right. So with our clients, this is one thing that we talked about in the panel. The first things that we look at always with each client is either digestion or blood sugar regulation, because it's those things that it's a domino effect. If those things are off, then it's going to throw other things off. So, and within the digestion is a north to south process. So we look all the way up here to see what kind of state you're in, whether you're in a parasympathetic state or a sympathetic state, because from there, everything else gets thrown off. So our bodies are very complex, and so it could be tricky sometimes trying to figure out what's going on.
Right. All right, we got a few questions that have come in. I see my friend Brittany, Real Food, Real Life, has a question. She wants to know, Christine, about keto and thyroid function. She says, and low thyroid function. So let me state up front, I definitely want to get your perspective since you have hypothyroidism, Hashimoto's autoimmune condition. A lot of people, Brittany, they see a lower thyroid number, be it TSH, be it, any of the numbers that are critical on there. And they think because it's a lower number on the test, that automatically translates into a lower function. We don't actually know the answer to that question. What we do know is that the thyroid doesn't have to work as hard in a ketogenic state, because the balancing of the hormones that are specifically insulin and then all the downregulation of all the other hormones. What if that lower thyroid number is actually a better function? Maybe that's the way the body should be running, but because people that are carb burners are going to their doctor, and that's where they get these reference ranges for what good thyroid numbers are, that those reference ranges are artificially higher, and they're not actually exemplifying what a truly healthy person should be. So I don't think a low number, and please let me know what you think about this, Chris. I don't necessarily think a lower TSH, for example, number means that it's a worse function, a lower thyroid function, but actually it could possibly be the optimal function and your thyroid's doing just fine.
Yeah, I would agree with what you said. And then I would look at, when you get your numbers back, how are you feeling? So if you are losing your hair, if you have hypothyroidism,
symptomatic,
if you're symptomatic, then maybe dig a little bit deeper. One of the common things that happens on a ketogenic diet is that you don't eat as much, so it's very easy to undereat, and so maybe that's a possibility
hypocaloric,
too,
right?
That you're hypocaloric. So I would look at your caloric intake. But if you do have a lower number, and when you look at your thyroid numbers, you get a full panel, including antibodies, because the TSH, T3, and T4 doesn't tell you everything. But if you do happen to have numbers that are a little bit out of range, how do you feel? If you feel fine, then don't mess with it.
And that's how we found out you had Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is the autoimmune version of hypothyroidism, was your antibodies were just off the charts high.
Yeah, and so I was symptomatic, but one good thing that keto has done for me, I just had my numbers checked maybe a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
And they're all within range now, and so.
Well, let's give the caveat. You also take Armour thyroid medication.
I do, but I think a ketogenic diet, along with the Armour, is really helping to have my numbers where they need to be.
Right. Yeah, your antibodies were almost non-existent, whereas when you had them tested and you were first diagnosed with Hashimoto's, they were
I don't even remember what
off
they were.
the charts.
But
I mean, it was just ungodly high. I want to say it was close to 900. It was just, oh my gosh.
yeah, yeah.
And see, if your doctor only runs the TSH, they miss that. If they only run the TSH, it could come back completely normal. They may run T4, T3, but they hardly ever run reverse T3, the thyroid antibodies. I mean, there's just so many relevant markers on thyroid that you kind of have to run that full panel to know where you stand. Don't just rely on your doctor says, well, your thyroid looks good, and all he's looking at is TSH. It may not tell the whole story. And to Brittany's question, a low thyroid number on a TSH, for example, does not equate to a low thyroid function. So I hope that helps you out, Britt. Anita says, how do we get on the cruise for next year? Gee, I wonder how.
lowcarbcruiseinfo.com.
And we always have a good time, Anita. People are always shocked because they have an expectation level. Well, number one, a lot of people think the whole ship is low carb keto, and no, it's a real cruise. It's just like every other cruise you might have heard about. What we do is we're a certain segment of that. Those thousands of people that are on board, we're a couple hundred people generally. Big group, but we're not the whole ship. So I've been posting a lot on social media, a lot of the foods that I've been eating. In fact, we just got back from the dining room and I had some burger patties and some chili and some cheese primarily as my meal. So it's easy to do whatever you're doing. If you're veg heavy and you like to do that, there's lots of salad bars. If you're carnivore, you can do what I've been doing. If you're keto, the options are there. Now, yes, the crap options are there as well, but pretty much people can choose what they want. But the dirty little secret about the low carb cruise that nobody knows is you get to meet so many people. You get to hang with these people that maybe you've met online and you realize they're real people. That's always the fun part. They think, oh, you're Jimmy and Christine Moore. I'm like, no, we're just people.
Yeah, just people. You learn so much about each other, and you get some more people added to your sphere of support. I think it's great.
Yeah. So again, that website, lowcarbcruiseinfo.com. The one next year is going to be around mid-May 2020. So be sure that you go to lowcarbcruiseinfo.com and inquire. My right-hand man in this, woman in this, is Debbie Hubbs. And so Debbie can send you a quote and let you know all the logistics of everything. She is wonderful. I basically let her run the show when we're not on the boat. And then once we're on the boat, I run the show and she takes a back seat. So it's a good relationship. I love doing what I do. She really loves doing what she does.
And I want to give a shout out to Elsa Marshall too. She does a lot of work in helping to get things organized.
As do you.
She handles a lot of the out of the country people that are coming
Right,
on the
she's
cruise.
from the UK.
So she does a great job. She puts the schedule together. We couldn't do it without
The
Debbie
volunteer schedule together.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
Jimmy Moore does the schedule.
Oh,
so.
right, the volunteer schedule. And she does a good job at communicating, what's going to happen. So couldn't do it without Debbie and Elsa.
Yeah, and you.
I don't do much.
So, and I'm working now on getting the speakers because I'm going away in September for 6 months. So I'm going to try to have all the speakers that are coming in place. Got a lot of people that were very interested in coming. I know Logan from Goody Beats has said he wants to come. Several of the people that came this year want to come back. Danny Vega has already said he wanted to come back. So Danny and Mar will be here again. And Robert and Crystal from Keto Savage and the Lady Savage, they want to come back. So we got a lot of people we're already starting to talk to for next year. And I got a few new people. What's really fascinating is we always tend to have so many brand new people on this cruise. Almost every time we do this, I always ask, first time on the low carb cruise, and it's like 3/4 of the room.
Yeah, it's amazing. He's like, wow, people keep hearing about it.
Bunch of one and dones.
Yeah.
All right. Tammy wants to know, what is the best magnesium to help with muscle and bathroom issues? So magnesium, there's only one that's really one that you need to kind of avoid unless you're constipated. So that's magnesium citrate. That tends to be the one that gives people the runs and can be very difficult. So you want to avoid magnesium citrate. Magnesium oxide and magnesium glycinate tend to be two of the better ones. And they give you all kinds of benefits. Did I get that right?
Yep, you did.
So what are the other benefits of taking magnesium? She mentioned she's having muscle issues, which is an electrolyte kind of issue, and bathroom issues, which she could be having digestive problems.
Yeah. Magnesium is also needed for detoxification, phase 1 detoxification. Magnesium is used for, so many things. The thyroid, good thyroid function. They all work together. And
Sleep.
Yeah, sleep is a big one. So, as you said, magnesium is one of the electrolytes, as potassium, chloride, calcium. So if you're having the heart palpitations, or if you're having muscle cramps or brain fog or fatigue, you can try a little bit of salt under the tongue first, but you may need a balance of all those electrolytes. Jimmy and I like to use one that's already formulated, because it's you get it in the proper amounts, because potassium is one of those things that can be very dangerous if you overdo it as well as underdo it.
So Keto Vitals, is that what you're referring to? And then the Jigsaw Health Supreme, Electrolyte Supreme. Yeah. Alrighty, well, thank you for that, Tammy. If you're just joining us, we are doing an open Q&A session. It's the Christina Wiener herself, Christine Moore, NTP, and this schlub, Jimmy Moore. And we're answering your questions about keto, nutritional therapy, pretty much anything that's on your mind. Brittany says, I have knowledge on the thyroid convo. Just wanted Christine's NTP thoughts. Yes, you got them, Brittany. Charming confessions for hormone concerns for women. That's you. What tests should you have performed? So are there any go-to tests? Now, obviously, this is a little outside of your purveyorship as an NTP, but what tests would you run as a woman? Just speak as a woman, not as an NTP.
Sure. So all of your female hormone, get those run.
The sex hormones you're talking about?
Yeah, the sex
progesterone,
hormones.
Estrogen, what else?
Yeah, testosterone.
Testosterone is a female hormone, yep.
So I just got put on some bioidentical cream about 3-4 weeks ago.
And we're still trying to balance it.
Yeah, it's a tricky thing trying to balance it. But those things, definitely look for that. And even some of the neurotransmitters. I just had cortisol test done to check the adrenals. I think getting your adrenals checked and your thyroid checked, because both of those things help regulate your hormones. But obviously Jimmy and I had our adrenals tested. Both of us are struggling. Both of us are struggling in that area. And then along with that, our neurotransmitters, I found out that I'm really struggling as you are in a lot of your dopamine, serotonin, GABA, DHEA, and a lot of this stuff is interconnected. And so definitely have your adrenals tested through saliva, and then definitely the thyroid, since both of those help regulate the hormones.
Right. Alrighty, you guys are asking some good questions. Thank you for that. And if you're just joining us, please ask your questions down below. We would love to answer your question. McDiamonds says, when is the next cruise next year? So the next low carb cruise is happening around mid-May next year. I don't have the exact dates, but if you go to lowcarbcruiseinfo.com, all of the details are listed there. If you also are on Facebook, we have a Facebook page for low carb keto cruises. So go type in low carb keto cruise and you'll find our page that has lots of information and pictures and interaction. And again, you're going to interface with this lady named Debbie Hubbs. Debbie is a sweetheart of a lady. She and I have worked together now for 12 years doing these cruises together. And definitely all of you guys are welcome to join us. We promise we don't bite too hard. But you are keto, so maybe we will bite a little.
Very nutrient dense.
Very nutrient dense keto people out there. Really wish I could do it. It would be great. Well, Sam, if you could figure out a way to do it, we would love to have you. Anita has a question. What vitamin B supplement do you suggest? So I know you're a big fan, Christine, of a B complex, which would have a complex meaning it's all the B vitamins in one, right?
Yep, generally that's what I recommend to my clients. If you have special circumstances, like Jimmy and I both have the MTHFR gene mutation.
What'd you call me?
And so I take a little bit of extra folate, methylated folate.
Folate?
Yeah, I had to. I was wanting to say folic acid, but it's folate. So I take a little bit of extra of that.
Yes.
And then depending on, if you're having some mood disorders, I may
Right.
look into some B12 if you're having fatigue, the B12.
And some B6 if you're having low stomach
Low
acid.
stomach, yes.
See, I'm learning from
But
this little lady.
You are. I'm very impressed. But usually a B complex will
Have it all.
Have those in there. There are two different basically complexes, and I don't know if these are available everywhere, but I know Biotics Research you have your G complex and your B complex.
Okay.
They're both the B vitamins.
You're blinding me with
Oh,
your
sorry.
watch.
They're both the B vitamins, but one of them has more of the B vitamins that relax you, like the B. Let's see if I can remember what it is. B1, B6, and B12 are the
Bingo!
Are the ones that are if you tend to be tired all the time, they uplift you. The other B vitamins are the ones that if you're wired all the time, they tend to relax you. So if you know that you're one of those people that tend to stay wired, if you're one of those,
Then get the G complex.
get the ones I think it's I can't remember offhand. I'll have to look at my hand.
So any nutritional therapist
Yeah.
can order from Biotics. This is
Yeah.
what she's talking about. And the good news about B vitamins is because they are water soluble, you really can't get toxicity from consuming too many of them, and you get great absorption, and anything beyond of the absorption, you just pee it out.
Yeah, that's what my doctor told me this last time that I saw her. My B12 was like at 1,000 or someplace. She goes, "It's high, but I'm not worried about it because you'll just pee out the excess."
Right. So there's really no danger in that. So Anita, hopefully that helped you out. Lois has a question. Will flavored vodka kick you out of ketosis? Not sure what they use to flavor it with. So is there, I know there's flavored whiskeys, like one of the whiskeys that they have like on the cruise ship is like Fireball whiskey. And I know it's flavored like a cinnamon flavored whiskey, and it's probably got sugar in it. So do you, I mean, this is a little out of our purveyorship because we don't normally drink.
All I can say is it may be individualized. The body has to burn through the alcohol before it'll burn through anything else. So
Even before carbs.
Even before carbs. So it's the alcohol, then the carbohydrates, then it starts
Protein.
burning your fat.
Right, fat and protein.
Yeah. So if you are metabolically damaged, I would kind of steer away from it. There are the alcohols that are less carby.
Right. One of my favorite ones to do if you're going to drink is like a mojito, because you get tequila and you get soda water and you get lime and mint. You can have it without any sweetener whatsoever. They usually put sugar, like a simple sugar syrup in there. I usually tell them either put just a tinge in there, which is like less than 5 grams of carbs, or none at all, and maybe put like a few drops of stevia if you carry stevia with you in liquid form, and you could have that. I know my bud Rob Wolf has this thing called a NorCal margarita. If you want to go look that up online, but it's the same basic concept of the mojito. So there are options that won't kick you out of ketosis, and then the guys at Dry Farm Wines will tell you that if you drink their wine, that it won't kick you out of ketosis either. So there are options if you look for them.
One thing I did want to mention with the alcohol, if you're going to have alcohol, don't do it with a meal, in my opinion, because the alcohol actually shrinks the pumps that release the stomach acid.
Slows digestion.
It slows digestion. So if you're
start
going to
feeling
have
bleh.
it have it in between meals, not with a meal.
Right. But not on an empty stomach.
Don't do it on an empty stomach.
Yeah.
I've done that before my mistake.
Eat a meal and wait how long after the meal before you drink?
Oh, I would
An
say,
hour?
I would say a couple hours.
A couple
maybe
hours.
hour to a couple hours, yeah.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. Bonnie Lene says, I have liquid ionic magnesium 400 milligrams. Is that a good one? Liquid ionic magnesium? Do you know that one?
Wow, no. I mean,
She's your client, so you
I love the fact that it's liquid because it's easily...
It absorbs better.
It's easily digested and it doesn't have the fillers in it. So, yeah, I would say go for that. I think I have heard of it, but I don't know that much about it.
Yeah. Dana says, what do you do about your heart racing? Well, you need to figure out why it's racing. There's a lot of things that it's indicative of. When your heart starts racing, that's your body telling you something's going on. And Christine has something when she consumes it, her heart immediately starts to race. Talk about that, and that this could be something that Dana's dealing with, Christine.
Yeah, so when those Quest bars first came out, we would have those on the go, and we were, as a matter of fact, on a low carb cruise, and we had some Quest bars packed with us, and so I ate one that morning, and 10 minutes later my heart was just racing, and I didn't think anything of it at the time, but I started noticing a pattern. And after going through the NTP program, one of the things that's a sign of a food intolerance or allergy is racing heart. So if you eat something and your heart starts to race shortly after, that's your body telling you that it's having trouble dealing with it. So yeah, it was very interesting. I mean, there could be other causes, like if you're dehydrated, if you're stressed. So yeah, when you're stressed, the cortisol starts pumping out, takes blood away from your gut and sends it to your heart and your muscles. So that could be another thing too. But I would take a journal and see if there's something that you're eating maybe that you see a pattern with.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting when you started talking about your heart racing after having a Quest bar, and not just Quest bars, but other things that you've had, and you're like, ooh, I wonder if it has that ingredient in it that I know I'm sensitive to. So Dana, definitely try to get maybe a food sensitivity test and see if you can find out. Did we figure out it was the whey?
It's the whey protein.
For you? So yeah. So you found that out. You did verify that in a food sensitivity test. Was that where you look like Hannibal Lecter on your back that you found that out?
Actually, no. It's just every time I would have the whey, I would have the heart racing, but then I would also break out with the psoriasis on the back of my
it's your
scalp.
autoimmune got flared up.
Yeah, and so I kind of narrowed it down. Even like these protein cookies that are made with the whey protein.
It's the Quest bar stuff too, yeah.
It does the same thing.
Yeah. All right, Taylor has the next question. Do either of you fast? If so, what do you think about having bone broth, tiny amounts of butter, tiny heavy cream through the fasting period? So Taylor, I just did an entire podcast with Keto Coach Lauren yesterday. It's still available. I Instagram lived it yesterday. That answers all those questions, and that's pretty much all Lauren asked me about was fasting. So go back and watch that video. In short, yes, I fast. I typically intermittent fast for the most part. I have done some extended fasting, and I've learned that when you do extended fasting, you don't need to do it with anything but water and salt to get the best results. When I did it with bone broth, I never did it with tiny amount of butter, tiny amount of heavy cream. Here's the thing that gets people in trouble. They think when they're fasting that they need something, and it's far better to eat zero, have basically water and salt, than to have just a little bit of something, because when you eat a little bit during a fasting period, you're fooling your body into thinking you're getting nutrition. And it's the antithesis of what you're trying to accomplish. So when you fast. When you feast. That's the other thing. When people break their fast, well, I just came off of fasting. I don't want to eat too much. And they end up sending their body into a super hypocaloric state. They start losing the hair and some of the other issues we talked about earlier. And it's no good. Go back and watch that interview. Lauren did a great job of asking lots of great questions on this. And literally, I think it's up for about 4 more hours here on Instagram. So go watch it now. Any thought? You don't fast?
Regular intermittent fasting.
Right. But you don't do any long fasting.
No, but that was one thing that was recommended to me by this great doctor that we're seeing.
Functional medicine doctor, yeah.
Out of Asheville. He recommended that I fast 1 to 2 days a week and then eat vegetables on another day or two.
Only vegetables.
Only vegetables, and then I can have other meat products, because he tends to think that some meat products are causing a little bit of rise in inflammation.
Okay. Good stuff. Good stuff. Let's see. Any other questions you guys have? Thank you for everything you do, says Anita. Thank you. Charming confession. Such great info. Glad I was able to catch this one. Well, we're glad you're here. Coastal Mom, I recently took liquid trace minerals and had a racing heart after. What would trace minerals do to race your heart?
I'm not sure.
Is that like boron, and what are the trace minerals?
Like chromium, selenium. I'm trying to go through my
testing
mind.
my NTP wife. Molybdenum.
Yeah,
Spell molybdenum.
That heart. MOLYBDENUM, I think.
Molybdenum.
Yeah. I'm not sure, unless if you were taking the dosage that's on the bottle, I'm not sure what that would
Could you
cause.
overdose on those, and that would maybe raise it?
Maybe, yeah,
Because maybe she's thinking she's getting a certain dose. We're just thinking out loud here, Coastal Mom, thinking she's getting a certain dose, but if you do get too much of some of those trace minerals, the body is traced for a reason.
Yeah, you don't need a lot of those. And the only other thing that I can think of is that if you're taking it on an empty stomach, maybe something's going awry there. But as long as you're taking the dosage on, the dosage that's on the bottle, and a lot of those, I would like to know what your status is. I mean, I don't like to have...
Take it willy-nilly without knowing your
status.
status.
I always tell my clients, go to your doctor and have these checked, because your body may not need them.
Right. All right. So if you're just joining us, please ask your questions. Christine and I are here answering questions about keto, nutritional therapy, cholesterol, fasting, carnivore, pretty much whatever is on your mind. The beautiful and talented and lovely nutritional therapy practitioner, Christine Moore, NTP, and the schlub, Jimmy Moore.
My schlub.
See, she loved me.
I do, very much.
All right, Kimberly just got in from my walk. I'm blessed to be able to catch another live. Yeah, I've been trying to do a few of these lives while we've been on the low-carb cruise. Wow, your nose was really cold. I just noticed that on my... Wait, she kissed me, and I feel like a little puppy dog just licked me.
Here, let me warm you up now. I'm starting to have a hot
flash. Oh, no, thank you.
you.
And so we've been trying to do some lives and sharing information. So, yes, Christine's like, I want to do a live with you. Let's Q&A. Let's do it. Can we do it? So we're doing it. Are we there yet? So keep asking your questions, guys. We'll keep answering. So holistic ketosis, and I love, by the way, your rebranding of your name, holistic ketosis. I love that. Decided to give up dairy this week as a carnivore, day 3, and I'm hating it. Thoughts? So you're a braver lady than I am, because I still, with my keto carnivore, love having the dairy in there. Partly because it makes it a little easier to bump up the fat to get to those levels of fat that I'm aiming for. But the other thing is just the enjoyment of it. Meat by itself can be a little bit blah, so adding in things like cheese makes it a little more interesting. So yeah, I mean, if you don't feel good doing it, try it for the 7 days, just see how you do. But I'm wondering if you get more benefit from it because you stick with it, because you have the dairy. I don't want you giving up on just eating meat only just because you gave up dairy unnecessarily.
My question would be, is there a reason why you gave up the dairy? To me, if you're feeling fine with it, if it's not creating a stall, then I wouldn't give it up just for the sake of giving it up, because you hear other people saying, well, dairy is not really carnivore. How are you feeling?
Right. So thank you for that question. So Lois says, hot flashes every night. Is there any way to help with this?
Wow, yeah, I mean, and I'm trying to remember. I can't remember the name of the supplement that I was, black currant or something like that. I can't remember. That's really tough. What I have to do, and it's simply just keeping like some wet wipes or something beside my bed. And
So
I'm constantly,
you've been dealing with this because we switched you over from the patch to now trying to get the balance of the bioidentical, and you've had hot flashes every night.
Yeah, and there is a supplement that my doctor recommended that we're going to try, because he's thinking that there is some absorption or metabolic issue that my body's not able to metabolize it properly. So DIM 100, I think, and I'm not sure exactly what that supplement is because I haven't gotten it yet and tried it, but that's what he recommended.
Say it slower.
DIM 100.
DIM 100.
Yeah, since he thinks I might have a metabolic issue with the estrogen cream. How's your blood sugar? I know that if your blood sugar is kind of wonky, that stresses out the adrenal glands, and the adrenal glands is what produces the estrogen after you have a hysterectomy. If you're having struggles with your ovaries, you might have issues with hot flashes and things like that. But I wish I knew a little bit more about that.
Yeah.
But just you can Google that supplement that I was trying to think of. I can't remember if it's black currant or if it's something else that helps with that.
Okay. Rose wants to know, is it normal to have high cholesterol on a keto diet? So Rose, I want to talk to you about this one a little bit, because the cholesterol issue is not what we have been led to believe. Everybody at this point believes that having a total cholesterol number over 200 indicates some kind of disease state. High cholesterol in and of itself is not a disease. You haven't heard that a lot in the mainstream. You're definitely not going to hear from a doctor. LDL cholesterol is high and total cholesterol is high. Doesn't really mean what they've made it out to mean. What does matter are two other numbers on that exact same cholesterol panel. One is the triglyceride number and the other one is the HDL number. The triglyceride number typically needs to be under 100. The HDL number typically needs to be over 50. And that's very indicative of someone who's on a ketogenic diet. So you hear about people say, well, make sure your LDL doesn't go too high, but that LDL number is merely a calculated estimated number. They run all the other numbers on your cholesterol panel, which are directly measured. They run all those numbers through an equation called the Friedewald equation, and out spits your LDL. Well, when you have trigs under 100 and you have HDL over 50, it miscalculates that LDL. So then suddenly you have both high LDL that's miscalculated, high cholesterol, total cholesterol, because of the miscalculated LDL, and now your doctor is pushing a medication on you because of those numbers that were all predicated on an estimation calculation. You see where I'm going here? So I wrote a whole book about this called Cholesterol Clarity, What the HDL is Wrong with My Numbers. Go look it up. If you go to cholesterolclarity.com, it takes you right to the Amazon page. Definitely educate yourself a little more. So is it normal to have high cholesterol on a keto diet is the wrong question to ask. I would ask, is it normal to see your triglycerides fall within a healthy range under 100 on a ketogenic diet? You bet it is. Is it normal to see your HDL cholesterol go well over 50 on a ketogenic diet? Yeah. Is it normal to see your HSCRP, which is a key inflammation marker, go lower, and by which, without inflammation, there is no disease? Does it go lower on a ketogenic diet? Yeah. So I think we need to reframe this cholesterol discussion to not look at total cholesterol and not look at LDL and put all the eggs in that basket, when to me, those are the least relevant markers on your entire lipid panel.
Ditto.
What he said.
Yeah, exactly.
Triple T Grammy says, been doing keto since January 2017. About 9 months ago, started having big eczema breakouts. Haven't had any since I was a kid. I eat so anti-inflammatory. So why am I having the eczema now? I've always eaten eggs, etc. Read something about too much salt affecting HC17 bringing out your inflammation. I put pink Himalayan sea salt in my water daily. Any thoughts on that? Does that sound like anything that might be gut health related?
Yeah, I mean, that definitely a lot of your rashes and things like that stem from your gut health. Also, if you are detoxifying, a lot of those things can worsen before they get better.
Yes.
So maybe your body has finally gotten to the point where it can start detoxifying because those pathways are open, and so maybe that's just a manifestation of that.
And here's another thing I just thought about reading. You've been doing this since January 2017, and only about 9 months ago did you start having the eczema breakouts. One thing people forget is when you are losing weight, so I assume you were still losing weight 9 months ago. When you're losing weight, where are the toxins stored in the body? It's in the fat stores.
Yep.
So I wonder if there's been some toxins that have been deep in Triple T Grammy's body, hidden in the fat stores, that now suddenly got released. Maybe this is just a temporary thing, as you noted, but it's happening because of the release of the body fat, where the toxins tend to be trapped away really, really deep.
And here's another thought too. Are you eating a variety of foods? Because sometimes on a ketogenic diet, it's easy to eat the same things, and especially if you're like Jimmy, he likes the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, mono eating.
Yeah, it's just easier for him. So, but a lot of times what happens is food sensitivities develop because of that.
Right.
Not allergies, but sensitivities. And so maybe that's an issue too. If you're eating a lot of eggs, or if you're eating a lot of one particular food, maybe look at your menu and see if you can kind of switch things up if you're not already doing that.
Yeah, I ran into that last year or year and a half ago, whatever, with eggs, because we have 25 backyard chickens. So we get daily, fresh, beautiful eggs. So Jay Moore was eating those daily.
Every day, yep.
And so it caught up to me in the form of a food sensitivity. And I was able to be off, or I forced my way to be off of them for a period of time, 6 months, and then I've slowly incorporated them back. I don't eat near the eggs I want to, but it's the right thing to do, and that could be causing the eczema.
So one more thing too, I mean, I mentioned the gut health issue, but I would look at further up, are you still producing enough stomach acid? Because if you're not producing enough stomach acid, then it is going to cause gut health issues. So it may not be something that started in the gut. It could be something that started, are you stressed when you're eating? I mean, that's the difficult thing about the digestive system. So many things can affect it. So, are you producing enough stomach acid? And you know that by if you have a sense of excess fullness, if you tend to have gas, or if you have just uncomfortable feeling, if you feel like skipping breakfast, some of those things can be a sign of not enough stomach acid. So that may cause issues too further down the digestive tract.
Sound effects not included.
I know, right?
Lois says, blood sugar runs in the 90s. I'm 60 years old. Great. 90s is great. See, people think because they've heard other people talking about blood sugar being in the 80s, 70s, that is their goal. If you're in your 60s and you've got blood sugar that runs in the 90s, I'm assuming that's 90s like all the time, pre and postprandial, that's not bad. I think we need to get out of this mindset of your blood sugar needs to be lower and lower if you're keto. I think anything, and Dr. Nally taught this to me in our book, The Keto Cure, between 60 and 100 at fasting blood sugar is good. And I don't think we need to let good stand in the way of thinking we need to be better.
But is she the one that talked about having the hot flashes? Because if so, I mean, because I had mentioned
I don't
blood
remember.
Sugar.
Yeah.
But if you are, I would look at your adrenal function then too. If forgive me, but we can't remember who asked that
right,
hot flash. But if you are, maybe look into having your adrenals checked, because you might be having inappropriate cortisol responses, which would mess with blood sugar, which would give you hot flashes.
Got it. All right. Yes, I eat the same foods all the time. The girl that eats mono, like you said. So what do you eat? She says what to eat. Just change it up. Just you find a good cookbook that you like from some of your favorite author and and just cook.
I mean, the good thing is there are so many things. I mean, I don't know if you eat carnivore or if you eat vegetables.
Let's assume
too.
she eats keto, traditional keto.
I mean, broccoli, cauliflower,
Squash,
asparagus,
zucchini,
Brussels sprouts, tons of things that you can switch it up. I mean, you can switch it up so much you don't eat the same thing.
And
within
spices
a week.
are your friend.
Yes, spices definitely are your friend. So it's very easy to switch it up.
Yeah.
And get more fish in there too.
Right.
That'll help with inflammation.
That advice sounds very fishy. Deanna says, I was getting rashes about 9 months ago. I added back in avocado. So carnivore was a great way for me to discover that I had food sensitivities. Nice, Deanna.
Yep.
You two are so helpful. Thanks so much. You're welcome, Bing Xing. So, I think we're out of questions now.
Okay.
But you were great, as
thank
always.
you.
The thing is, last year on the low carb cruise was her first time kind of coming out and speaking. And I was standing by you next to your talk last year. And this year on the NTP panel about nutritional therapy, she was just like, brrr. I was like, you don't need me anymore. See ya.
I always need you.
Triple T Grammy says all the veggies and spices and sardines and kimchi. That sounds beautiful. When are we having lunch? So thank you, Christina Wiener.
Thank you.
For all your great expertise.
Thank you.
You rock.
Mm-hmm. You do too.
Are you having fun on the low carb cruise?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
So tell the peoples how they can come next year.
Go to lowcarbcruiseinfo.com and sign up.
There you
already.
go. Tammy says, enjoy the rest of your cruise. Hope to be on one in the future. You better be, Tammy. Guys, that's it for this episode of Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com is the website. As always, you can engage live in the content. You got to go follow me over on Instagram Live. I'm at Livin' Low Carb Man, LIVIN LOWCARBMAN.
It talks for a living.
You want to say Livin' Low Carb Man and spell it?
I can spell it. But
You want to say Livin' Low Carb Man and spell it?
Living Low Carb Man, LIVIN LOWCARBMAN.
Oh, she even stumbled a little.
love it.
It's hard, ain't it? It's hard. Deanna says, I will definitely be there. Well, I can't wait to meet you, Deanna. If you missed the live, you can watch it for up to 24 hours over on Instagram. After 24 hours, poof, it does disappear. You'll need to pop on over to YouTube. Since we've been on this low-carb cruise, I've got a ton of Jimmy Rants to upload when we get home. So most of these won't be on YouTube till next week sometime. But they will be on YouTube. Go type in a keyword, Jimmy Rants. You will find the show. Finally, the best of the best moments of this here show are in podcast form. It's the Jimmy Rants podcast over on Apple Podcasts and Stitcher. All of these links, you guys, are at jimmyrants.com. So Nacy comes in with a very late question. What is the next important thing after lowering and eliminating carbohydrates as a means to control your blood sugar and optimize fat loss?
So protein would be next. Moderating your
Even
protein.
before vegetable oils? Elimination of vegetable oils?
If you're talking about controlling blood sugar, right?
He says controlling blood sugar and optimizing fat burning.
So, I mean, yeah, if you carbohydrate restriction and then protein moderation, because if you're eating too much protein for your dietary needs, then that can raise blood sugar in a lot of people. So moderating your protein, and then the vegetable oils is definitely a big one too.
Right. Cool.
Since they tend to be inflammatory.
All right, Nacy, thank you for that late question. So guys, until next time, we'll see you then.